2 weeks. Things are definitely going well.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, so I meant a couple weeks out. I mean, you know, UFCs, they come so quickly. So, you know,
Yeah, well, there's only one more event before mine, so that's
right.
fair.
For sure. But we appreciate you taking the time to be on the Fight Report today, and we hope everything's going well with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Definitely. And right now, host Sean Len with the Fight Report. Make sure to check out fightly.com for all our latest MMA articles coming out every week. And we'll keep you up to date with all the UFC and Bellator MMA action. And right now, we welcome UFC Women's Featherweight, the Phenom Felicia Spencer. She fights Norma Dumont, UFC Vegas 27, 8-2, and the former Invicta FC Women's Featherweight Champion, and trains at the Jungle MMA in Orlando, Florida. And, you know, so far we've seen you in UFC a few times. You've had big fights, you know, including Amanda Nunes. So you're now 8-2. And of course, you know, coming off that biggest fight of your career against Amanda Nunes, did the fight change things up for your training? And what did you feel you learned from that fight?
Well, every camp kind of has new things I work on, new things to focus on and just evolve. So I'm not the same person going into the octagon every time. With the fight, I mean, Amanda had an amazing night last year, and she was one step ahead of me, in like the whole fight. So it was impressive just to go back and watch like just her excellence in that moment, so a lot of it's for me just mental, like keeping I think I was losing focus of like my options and kind of just thinking about one thing during that fight. So just trying to, I always say, like, the more fun I'm having, the better I look. When I'm flowing, I get creative. That's one of my strong suits, is being a little unpredictable, a little creative in different positions in a fight. So, over the last year, it's been almost a year since I fought. I've been working on kind of taking a step back and kind of rebuilding, just like going back to basics and like just keeping things solid, and then kind of going back to like making good decisions during training, like thinking about all my options and training just with a different perspective, I guess. So
Definitely, I got you. And yeah, you did have some time away from fighting with this one. How did you stay, patient, waiting for your next opponent to be announced?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted it 6 months to be, for sure. I didn't intend for it to be a year, but at the same time, I feel, lucky to be part of the UFC, and when the opportunity came, I was grateful for it, and I didn't stress, not having a fight sooner. It was just enjoying life, and not stressing things I can't control. So definitely have grown a lot, like in that mentality over the last few years.
And now you're fighting Norma Dumont. Talk about your original opponent and why you feel it was changed. Obviously Danielle Wolf was supposed to be your original opponent, and why you're welcoming Norma instead.
Yeah, Danielle Wolf was scheduled to fight me. She's a featherweight, so that was expected, I guess. A lot of people kind of have been looking at the fight as kind of like an unfair matchup because she's 1-0 in MMA, although she has an extensive boxing career. For me, I was kind of looking at it like, back when, years ago in the men's divisions, when they weren't all super developed, that's kind of where my division's at. So they were kind of just, making something a little interesting, kind of shuffling it up a little bit. A lot like when Randy Couture fought James Toney, in my eyes. But yeah, Danielle hurt her elbow doing some grappling rounds, and it's just something that happens. Happens to the best of us. Especially learning. Being in fight camp mode, you're in a different mentality, and things get a little. You maybe get a little too hard on yourself, and you don't tap when you should, or whatever the case may be. It's just something that happens, and I understand. So hopefully she'll really heal up, and it was my thing last year. Leading up to my fight with Amanda, I had a fight in February, at the end of February, and then I immediately got scheduled to fight Amanda. And then the fight with Amanda got postponed. So I was in fight camp for 6 months straight.
Right.
And my eyes, when I heard that Danielle was out and Norma was an option, I was like, let's do it now. I do not want to extend my camp longer. It doesn't help to have a longer camp. Like the set time for camp is perfect. Like 8 weeks is like, when things get intense, and extending it is, you're ready to peak at that moment. And then if the time goes on farther, then your peak is actually getting lower, and the soreness and the little injuries and the little nooks and crannies from training get higher. So it's really not something I was interested in doing, was waiting longer. So I definitely wanted to get it done. I feel good. I feel ready. So I was like, as long as I can keep the same date, I'm happy.
Definitely. And I know Danielle Wolf, she had an impressive performance on the Contender Series. I know, I'm not saying it's a mismatch, but, you said that fans were puzzled by the matchup, but don't you feel like, her performance was very impressive?
It was good. Yeah, I was happy to see, that she was composed, and, like she was using mixed martial arts, not just boxing in her fight. And I know she's, obviously she's been training MMA, different aspects of the sport for years, so it's not like she just started training jiu-jitsu this year. I'm sure, like that's not what happened. I'm sure of it. So, I'm expecting, if we meet down the line, that an evolved version of Danielle, and even more so after having been through a fight camp getting ready for me. So, so yeah, I mean, I never overlook any opponent, and everyone's an athlete, everyone's in there for a reason, and my job's to come out on top. So it's all, that has to be my focus, is making sure I win.
And talk about coming from Florida. There's freedom now, no mask. Everything full capacity. Unfortunately, Las Vegas currently will have the UFC Apex bubble. They don't have reopening until later on. So talk about those changes. A little bit, maybe a little bit of disappointment or frustration. Not just from you, but maybe your camp as well.
Well, things in Florida opened pretty gradually, like last year, a lot sooner than everywhere else. Like even as soon as I was done fighting Amanda, gyms were pretty much open with a lot of precautions taken, but open. So there were options to go places, and and the mask mandate, I think, is a lot of time. I think like in businesses they can choose when to enforce it and all that. So for this camp, it's all been pretty much everyone's available for me as far as training partners go. So that's been nice. The gyms are fully accessible, so there's no stress about that. I have some teammates fighting this weekend, but I won't be attending because now that I'm getting within such a short time of my fight, I don't want to expose myself and, take any extra risk, because,
Sure.
If I show up and I have COVID, then I don't get a paycheck. So that, that's horrible. Or, if my opponent does. So that's definitely still a stressful thing to imagine getting all the way there, getting to the scale, and then something like, the day of the fight or whatever it is. Like, I just cannot imagine how devastating it would feel to lose out on it, being so close, and the paycheck, it sucks to say you're fighting for money, but fighting for money, you're like, this is a paycheck that is very important to, for moving forward in the future. So it's always something that really hits hard, if you're looking forward to planning around, a paycheck, and then you don't get it. So it would suck.
Definitely. We hope everything goes as planned. Talk about the fans. You miss them, and you hope to see them at your following fight. I know, Jacksonville welcome back the fans for UFC 261.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, it seems so normal to not have fans now. It'll be like a big change to go back. I feel like, even though I've only fought once without fans, just watching the events and just the feeling of the event, I'm sure it'll kind of feel normal to fight without fans this time again. And then the next time I fight with fans will probably feel like a new experience again. So, so I'm guessing anyway, but it didn't really like strike me like last time as anything overwhelming to be in a quiet room. Or for me, I'm so focused on what's going on in my world that I don't usually take in the audience until like after the fight. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow, it's so loud in here. It's so cool. Like as soon as the last bell is rung, it's like, now I can soak it in and enjoy it. So yeah, either way is fine with me. The fans are definitely, the sport is made for the fans. So I like that they can enjoy it, with us closer. But as far as an athlete goes, like I'm doing my job either way.
And definitely, I mean, that's the common answer I get is they hear the fans before and after the fight and not kind of in between, not during the fight as much.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Talk about the UFC, women's featherweight division, your mood going in this fight. I know some people say there's some uncertainty looming with the division, but how do you feel? Because we have women that do want to fight at 145. They're coming up from 135. It seems like there are options.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I can really just take it one step at a time, and I've always, it's always kind of been an uncertain division, and not a lot to like really plan out and like have a hard line to work for. But there was a lot of like talk a month or so ago about the division closing after this fight and this and that. But
Right.
look, I got a replacement fighter when Danielle fell out. So there's hope on the horizon. And whatever decision the UFC makes, like there's nothing I can really do about it. The only thing I can do is put on a good performance and put my best foot forward. And the rest I can't control, and I'll be looking at options regardless of what happens. Like I just have to take whatever step is best for me after the fight. And so I have a good outlook about it, but I don't have like a 5-year plan or anything.
Sure.
I barely have a 5-week plan. Like that's just how I live my life. So like,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, fight to fight. Amanda Nunes has said she needs to beat you again. She feels to clean out the division. So what do you think of that? Knowing, UFC may have other plans, but, there's a possibility that you and Amanda would fight in the future.
I actually didn't know she said that. That's cool. Yeah, I think another fight with her would be different. I mean, of course, I feel like I could have won the fight last year, but having the experience and just always evolving and moving forward in my game and in my adding to my arsenal. I think every fight would be different. So that's kind of exciting. I didn't know she said that. I don't think it would be having one win like this, winning this next fight would warrant a title shot, although I wouldn't say no to anything.
Right.
I would feel like I need more to really put my to show that I deserve it, and to make people want to see it.
Sure.
Is more than just one. But that's good that she's looking to keep defending the title, so that's good.
And who's helped you for this fight, and how did they contribute to your success?
I mean, my team at the Jungle has been obviously part of my journey from day one. My head coach Mike Lee and Seth Petrozelli, they own the gym, and they've created a team atmosphere that has made me stay, throughout my whole career, and the talent there is amazing. I do have a change in my corner. My husband is normally with me in the corner. He's going to not be joining us, especially with the quarantine. Like I have to pick, just 3. So there is another striking coach I've been working with for years. He actually trained me at the Jungle, and he went out to Vegas for a few years, and he was back for a few years. And we've always had a really good coach-student relationship. Like he's always been in my head really well. So we've been working together for about 1.5 years, I'd say, but very consistently since probably, even after my last fight, very consistently since the last year, pretty much. And so I'm going to make sure he's getting an opportunity to be in my corner and to add to the corner and just have something a little different. So unfortunately, I can't have 4 people in my corner this time, so it'll be a little switch up. But I definitely appreciate him. His name is Rich Grindle, and he'll be, a slight change in what you see on Fight Night, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, looking forward to it. And then after this fight goes your way, you think UFC would bring up another opponent from 135 for you? I know we've seen Holly Holm. She's competed at 145 before, and her fight with Pena was, nixed due to an injury.
Yeah, I have, I really like, I have no idea who would want to or who would. I've heard Holly say that she doesn't have interest in doing it again, or if someone wants to step up and join the division or have one-off fights, like I think it would be cool. And there's a lot of, I was surprised, at this point I'm kind of like assuming that no one wants to, but I was surprised when I got signed to the UFC that there weren't a bunch of hands coming up to build up to be part of the division that
Yeah.
was kind of a open division. Like you can really make a name and get I don't want to say like an easy title shot, but
Right.
obviously with a smaller division the number of wins is going to be less needed. So I was surprised that there weren't more people cutting a lot of weight, a lot of phantom weights that cut a lot that would just take the featherweight opportunity and maybe have a healthier cut, have a healthier camp, and you know join the division. So, but
Mhm.
at this point, I'm not surprised by anything, and I'm just going with the flow.
For sure. That's a good attitude. And, what are your thoughts on the Bellator Women's Champion Cyborg? You've obviously, went the distance with her. She's taking on Leslie Smith in a big rematch, happening in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm happy for her and that she seems very happy with Bellator, and
Mhm.
I'm always excited for the development of women's divisions, especially my division and in other promotions and stuff. And it's fun to watch. It's fun to follow. I mean, I'm glad that there's effort being made to build divisions and put them in the spotlight. And um I think that's another fight that I lost, but I feel like I definitely went into the fight feeling like I could win, and I still feel like there's things that I can show that I can beat anyone in the world. And but I don't look back like harshly. I look back just with fond memories of what we did, and
Mhm.
happy for her success moving forward. And if if she's still around fighting, and I don't know how long she'll be around fighting, or me for that matter, like if our paths meet again, that would be really cool, to continue to build a legacy and have her be part of it again.
Yeah, definitely. So you think she'll beat Leslie Smith?
I would imagine
Mhm.
yes, but I like Leslie. I have nothing against her. I think
Right.
she's game, and sometimes all it takes is just being game and making a good decision at the right moment. So so Cyborg knows that, and I think she's like me, like she would never overlook anyone standing in front of her because they're there for a reason. I feel like there's a little bit of a size probably difference. I think you know, Leslie fought, I think she's fought down as low as 25, and
Mhm.
she fought most of her career as bantamweight, I think. So she's probably not cutting as much weight, so there's probably going to be a little bit of a strength advantage for Cyborg, but also experience, and her intensity is insane. But so is Leslie's pretty intense too. So it'll be a fun fight. I think it'll be fun. I'd have to go back and watch the first one from
Yeah.
years ago to really like wrap my head around like how things could go. But it's also been so many years, it's always kind of a question mark. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I do. I do as well. And I noticed you're wearing a Reebok here, and then now we have Venom that's going to be sponsored UFC. So, what are your thoughts on the new fight kits? You're looking forward to showing them off?
Yeah, I'm always excited to see what I get when I show up in Vegas. And yeah, I was actually, it's I live in Florida, it's hot outside, but my husband keeps the air so cold in the house. I was just like, I gotta throw a jacket on, and this happened to be the one that was easy to grab. So, and
Right.
it wasn't intentional, but but yeah, I'm excited for the what Venom's gonna be. And yeah, I think they're like walk around gear looks really cool. The fight kits look pretty similar, so that's nice to not. I was kind of nervous. I was like, oh, is it gonna be super different? That's gonna be scary because you want to be comfortable with something you've worn before.
Right.
So hopefully it'll feel familiar and it looks very similar. So a little more stripey, but I don't really care what I'm wearing on fight night, I guess.
Definitely. And then what were your thoughts on the next pay-per-view coming up, the main event, UFC 261, Chandler versus Oliveira?
I really love it. I was so excited that Charles Oliveira got the opportunity to fight for the title because he was definitely the one I was like, he
Mhm.
should get it against any of the guys. Like he should be the one fighting for this open title. And I thought Chandler made a good, a good statement in his first Octagon debut. And so yeah, I think it's growing on other people, but I was definitely one pushing for Charles Oliveira from the beginning. I've always loved his style. He's on a huge win streak, and he's just, he's creative on the ground and on the feet. He's kind of unique to watch, I think. So as far as who wins, it's gonna be a tough one. It's a crazy fight. That division is insane. Like it is so crazy how much talent there is and just how tough that division is as far as like durability too. And and I know about my durability points. It's all people talk about is being durable. So yeah, they're durable. So yeah, that's a really exciting fight. I don't even there's so many events I don't even know who's fighting on the undercard, but I'm sure it's an amazing card. So I'll be looking forward to staying up late to watch that, because that's another big thing coming close to fight week is I have to really
Right.
be mindful about staying up late on purpose, because I go to bed so early, especially
Yeah.
during fight camp. It's like I'm in bed asleep like 10 o'clock. But if I'm going to be fighting at 10 or 11 o'clock, I don't want that to be my schedule. So I have to, like, over the next, week or so, I really need to maybe try to fit a nap during the day and stay
Right.
up late. Like that is a big struggle for me
Yeah.
coming close to fight day. So we'll see how that goes.
Sure. Hopefully it all smooths out by next
Yeah,
coming week.
gotta reset my body clock here.
Yeah, at least you're not going overseas for the fight. I'm sure that would be, a lot more challenging.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Did you ever think about the fight island? Like, did that ever appeal to you, or were you like, nah, I don't want to deal with the time change?
It definitely was appealing. I mean, there's pros and cons.
Mhm.
The experience is pro. Like, definitely want to have that experience. The con, of course, having the long travel and the ecosystem change. Everything is, curious how it would affect you. Like sometimes traveling, um, kind of affects me. Like the air is different. I get, like blood nose, or like if I drink the water in other places, it really like, makes me feel not good. So I have to be really careful sometimes. I think
Sure.
the amount of time that we spend in Vegas is perfect because I've acclimated a little bit, but it hasn't like gotten to me yet where like the dryness is affecting me, or, like I feel like if I was there for too long, it would start
Right.
to really mess with my head, like how dry it is. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I would welcome the opportunity to go to Fight Island. I think it was beautiful. It was like every athlete's dream to do something like that, so
Yeah.
definitely open to it.
Yeah, I don't think Evan Nunes has fought on the fight island yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't think so. Don't think
Yeah.
so. I imagine they'll keep going back. So
For sure. And I don't think you're the only one that does the dryness. I mean, I've been to Vegas. I'm sure anyone who's been there a week that hasn't used to the climate probably deals with the same thing.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of like wet towels in the hotel room
Yeah.
to make it humid. I come from Florida, like the most humid place, going
Right.
to the driest place. So yeah, it's a perfect amount of time to not like really pull me down before I fight.
And then what can we expect at UFC Vegas 27? I know you're going to be happy. It's going to feel great for you to get back in the octagon finally. But what can we expect from the fight? And how do you feel you're going to get everyone back home on their feet, since they can't be there in person?
Yeah, I mean, I just, I expect to be just myself. I just expect to have fun. It's business too, but I just want to be calm and composed and open to make good decisions first and foremost, but also to like have a little fun and be creative and show something cool that maybe I don't even know yet what it is. And I think again, like that's part of where I excel is like just finding an interesting path to victory sometimes. So
Yeah.
so I'm comfortable standing, I'm comfortable on the ground. I imagine you know, like most fights end up on the ground. I imagine it'll end up on the ground because we're both pretty well rounded. I think Norma's pretty well rounded, and she won't be like avoiding one thing or another. And same with me. You know, I'm happy everywhere. So um, I always expect to have a finish in the first round, but I'm of course ready to go all three, as you know. So yeah, hopefully a first round finish, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Definitely. Well, we appreciate you being on the Fight Report, everybody. You know, we appreciate UFC Women's Featherweight, the Phenom, Felicia Spencer, being on the show. She fights Nora Dumont, UFC Vegas 27 in 2 weeks. Check it out. We can't wait to see it on ESPN Plus. And if there's anyone you'd like to thank, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you also for having me on again, and everyone for listening. You know, like we wouldn't have a sport if it wasn't for fans like everyone involved here. So but one of my longtime sponsors that I always like to shout out is called The Other Side Apparel, and it's just a locally owned company that started a couple years ago, and they make hand wraps that are, you know, geared obviously toward fighters. Hand wraps that are like nothing you've ever tried before. So if you go to thephenom.com, you can see the hand wraps, or just go to The Other Side MMA, you get some discounts on them, and they're like durable, just like me, and luxurious a little bit, and they don't smell bad, so it's kind of nice. But yeah, The Other Side Apparel, I always appreciate their support pretty much since day one, you know, so I always like to shout them out.
Well, we appreciate you, Felicia, being on the Fight Report today. Best of luck to you, and we can't wait. Everybody check it out, May 22nd. We got Felicia Spencer against Nora Dumont, UFC Vegas 27.
Thank you.